Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 26.5 Beta 1. iOS 26.5 Beta 1 is available to developers, and hopefully iOS 26.5 Public Beta 1 will be out by the time you're watching this video or within a few days. This came in at 8.72 gigabytes, that's on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and was released alongside many other updates, with iPadOS 26.5 Beta 1, macOS 26.5 Beta 1, tvOS and HomePodOS 26.5 Beta 1, watchOS 26.5 Beta 1, along with visionOS 26.5 Beta 1 and older updates as well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. Since iOS 26.4 updated this, all we need to do now is go to General and then Software Update, wait for it to show up here, go to More Details, tap on the version number, and you can see the build number here. The build number is 23F5043G, and this particular update does include a few new changes and updates, and the first thing is a modem update. We're going from version 1.55.04 to 1.60.00 on the 17 Pro Max. So hopefully that helps with overall cellular connectivity and maybe some changes there. Now, as far as the first new features, well, it looks like Apple Intelligence has been updated, but not with the new Siri. Apple Intelligence and Siri seems to be available for some in mainland China now. Now, I haven't been able to clarify whether this is just iOS 26.5 Beta 1 or 26.4, but it should be showing up. If it's not showing up, you need to have a phone in mainland China, reboot it, and hopefully it will show up for you. But let me know if it's showing for you in the comments below. Another feature they've updated has to do with messages. If we go into our apps, go into Messages, under our settings for messages, scroll down to where we have RCS messaging, and they've brought back the end-to-end encryption beta. Now again, this was in iOS 26.4 betas. It was not in the public release, so hopefully it will release to the public with this update. And it works the same way. It's on certain carriers and only works between certain devices. I've been testing it here, and you'll see here it depends on who you're sending to, but it may say encrypted or not encrypted depending on the encryption state. So if you're sending to someone that has the feature, it will then show it here. Just keep in mind that feature is in beta. Something else they've brought back has to do with notifications. This is something that's supposedly released around the world, but not in the United States. If we go into notifications, you'll now see notification forwarding again. This allows you to send notifications to third-party devices. For example, if I go into notifications, you'll see a few different vehicles here. I don't have one of them, but you'll see here that it can then forward to specific devices. So you'll see here, show message notifications. Let's turn that on, and hopefully in Apple CarPlay, it will now show my messages maybe a little bit differently directly on the device in the car instead of just using iMessage. But it says sync iPhone notifications with other devices, and this in theory could work with things such as third-party watches if you didn't want to use an Apple Watch, for example. Another change is in Apple Maps. Within Apple Maps, you'll see we now have suggested places. So this is in the search area, and this may go along with what they're going to do in the future with bringing ads when you're searching for something. So if you want to search for fast food, for example, an ad may show up recommending something from someone that has actually advertised here. But we now have suggested places in Maps. Now, as far as bugs and bug fixes, well, it seems like text to Siri is not fixed when you double tap here on the bottom, and maybe we type an app. So App Store, it should give us suggestions here. It's not doing that. You can type App Store and send, and it will actually open it, but it's not giving the suggestions it should, and it's not really indicating anything other than if I type app, send, again, it should actually open up the App Store. Or I could do that with photos, for example. Just start typing photos, send, and it should open up photos. It does it to a point, but not like it did before with a bunch of suggestions. So this is something they have yet to fix. So far, I haven't heard of any issues with Apple CarPlay, but again, it's fairly early on, and we'll have to talk about that more in the weekend follow-up. And one thing I have to mention is the wallpaper bug. So if we pull down our notifications here, take a look at the background or the wallpaper, slide up, and it looks the same. I'm not really seeing a difference here. It may change slightly, but it looks like it sort of brings back the vibrancy that it once had. So maybe they've finally fixed this. Hopefully they have, but it seems like it's resolved to me. As far as other bug fixes, well, in their public-facing release notes, you can take a look at these here as well, but if we go into the release notes, you'll see there's some new features for StoreKit. There's some known issues with StoreKit, and they've resolved an issue with Wallpaper. Specifically, it says it fixed the Unity and Kaleidoscope wallpapers where they may fail to install or cannot be removed from the wallpaper gallery. So this is a bug they're letting us know that they've resolved. I'm happy to see these notes here, as that's something they typically wouldn't let us know about. So if we go into our wallpaper gallery here, go over, you'll see Kaleidoscope and Unity. They're already filled in, which is an improvement already. It is a little bit laggy as I scroll here, but you'll see Kaleidoscope and Unity are showing. If I tap Get on one of them, we should be able to quickly uninstall this as well. But this frees up some space. I'm happy to see they've done this, where they did this with iOS 26.4. But again, you'll see it here. Let's see if we can remove it. Remove, and now it's gone. So it looks like it's functioning properly this time around. As far as any other bugs or issues, so far I haven't noticed anything that's obvious. Going in and out of apps, the camera, for example, swipe home, everything seems to be working like it should. Of course, it can take a few days to notice them, so of course we'll check back in the follow-up and see what happens there. There was also someone that mentioned quite a few bug fixes on Reddit, but I have yet to verify that information. They mentioned things such as battery life and networking, but again, I have to verify if that's accurate information, as it's hard to say as it's from an unknown source at this point. So again, we'll have to test that as well. When it comes to future releases, well, it's great that we got this update so fast, and based on what we've seen before, we could have a beta 2 as soon as the 6th, so maybe as soon as next week we could see that, but we don't really know for sure, as Apple typically pushes them out for 2 weeks, and then they sort of speed up to 1-week releases after that. So we could see it as soon as Monday of next week on April 6th, or we could see it on the 13th. Of course, the big update will be iOS 27, which will be shown on June 8th at WWDC, as Apple has confirmed that, and that's where we should have some changes, stability, and more. So that's what most of us are looking forward to with watchOS updates and everything else. Of course, betas and public releases throughout the summer, with a public release typically in September. So that's what we expect from iOS 27. We also expect AirPods Max this week. So on Apple's website, if we scroll down, you'll see AirPods Max 2 are coming out this week. It says available early next month, and those that have ordered this have said that it's supposed to be shipping by or arriving by the 1st or 3rd. So we'll have to wait and see if they release by then. Of course, I've ordered some to check them out and see what they're like. But let me know if you're picking them up or if you've ordered some in the comments below. As far as if you should install iOS 26.5 Beta 1, at this point probably not, unless you're a developer or beta tester testing out a new app, as there's not anything significant just yet. I would expect some more changes throughout in the future, of course, but so far it seems fast, it seems fluid, and the overall speed of it seems to be very, very good. ProMotion is nice and fast, everything is working well, but again, it will take a few days to know, and we'll check back in the weekend follow-up to see if this is actually an issue or if it's performing great and stays performing great. But let me know your experience in the comments. As far as overall heat, well, of course, it just installed a major update, but it's staying nice and cool so far, especially with the vapor chamber here. But let's go ahead and run benchmarks. I'll run them for the 3rd time here, and let's see what we get. Benchmarks are about halfway done, and if we take a look at the hottest point on the 17 Pro Max with iOS 26.5 Beta 1, it's running around 35 degrees Celsius, which is about 2 degrees cooler than we had with iOS 26.4 this past weekend. So overall, staying well within the margin of error where we expect, so looking pretty good so far. Let's wait for the benchmarks to complete and we'll take a look. Benchmarks completed, and we have 3,842 for single core, 9,806 for multi-core. This is pretty good considering I just installed it. I ran it 3 separate times, and it's well within the margin of error. So pretty good performance overall, except for a little bit of stutter here and there that I showed you before, but it seems pretty good. Sometimes there's stutter if I unlock, slide up, swipe over, you'll see a little bit of stutter there as things ramp up. But overall, pretty much the same, but very fast, opening and closing apps, things like that. As far as battery life, let's go into settings. We'll take a look here. And if we go into battery, of course, it takes a few days to measure that, but I have 100% capacity with 50 cycles. And if we take a look at battery usage, yesterday I had 2 hours and 37 minutes of screen active time, 1 hour and 44 minutes of screen idle time, and used 57% of my battery. Generally, I do get through the day, but today so far I've had 2 hours and 36 minutes of screen active time and only used 36% of the battery. Hopefully it improves. Of course, we'll check it in the weekend, and it does get me through the day even though these numbers are quite low. When it comes to overall storage, let's take a look between the public version here on the left and the beta on the right. So we'll go to General and then iPhone Storage. If we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see iOS is taking up just a little bit more storage, with iOS 26.5 Beta 1 taking up 14.24 gigabytes compared to 14.22. Pretty similar overall, not really a whole lot more, a little bit more in Apple Intelligence as well. System data can vary, go up and down as needed, so I really don't pay much attention to that as I have plenty of storage, but if it's taking up storage to the point where you can't install an app, that's when it's a concern. Other than that, this is just cache data and I would just ignore it overall. So that's everything so far in iOS 26.5 Beta 1. I was hoping for the new Siri. Maybe we'll see it with Beta 2. Sometimes they add a bunch of features with the next beta, and hopefully that's as soon as next week. Let me know if you found any other features in the comments below, and of course if I find other features, we'll talk about it in the weekend follow-up video. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.